Hello, welcome back. This is episode 2, I guess you can call it. I'm going to go through some of the builds that I've done. Some came out pretty good, some didn't come out so good. Some of the rods, parts of them came out okay, and then other parts didn't at all. So you'll see here that this is my first rod that I ever did. I got this one as part of a turnkey kit from Mudhole. It's a medium heavy medium light action with split grips, and then you'll see right here the little marbling. I think the marbling itself came out pretty good. However, the gluing of the winding checks and the grips did not come out so hot. So you see over here, I didn't get rid of all the glue that was necessary, and it just kind of spilled over, and that's what you get there. And I actually missed part of it, so you actually have an opening here. Spacing wise, it's fine. There's a decent amount of space for the split grip, and I applied the cork seal to the cork grips, so they're pretty good. And the reel seat is a size 16 American tackle grip. You'll notice that I have this I guess they call this a lockdown. It helps to keep the reel secure better than when you do a lock up, because you have a tendency for the reel to work itself loose when you have it from the bottom, either by your hand accidentally unscrewing it or just by pressure of use. Okay, so then up here we have my hook keeper. Epoxy wise, it's okay. It's not very level. Actually, you notice that I have a high point here that I didn't sand down on my initial pass. You also notice that the threads themselves are not packed well at all. There's visible gaps. And there goes the motorcycle. And if I was to redo this, which I plan on doing at some point, you wouldn't be able to tell. It would look like tape. That's the goal anyway. This was an attempt at a cross wrap. I laid down the blue thread initially. If I remember correctly, I didn't apply any CP to this prior to it, which gave me issues because the thread shifted. You see that there's actually spots here that it's open. My tie ends were metallic, which you really don't want to do because it doesn't really have it doesn't have that much strength to hold it back, and you'll see that it's also just all over the place. So I should really redo this one. It was my first rod, and it works great. I caught fish on it and went saltwater fishing with it. Caught some mackerel, caught some bass, all kinds of stuff. So now that we have my guides, you'll notice that it is a green thread. However, it's not very visible. This is the thread here that I used. You noticed that I didn't actually use any color preserver on it, so it kind of becomes translucent, and you can actually see the guide more than anything else. So that's another oops. You also see that there's marks on here because I redid it multiple times with epoxy, and I didn't actually have the permagloss to go over it to refinish the rod, so you get the marks there. So yeah, that was also another fail. And there's also, if you notice, if I can get it in the frame, at the base of the guide foot, the epoxy is starting to climb up the guide foot. I mean, that's not bad. I've done worse, but that one's it's okay. So in terms of level of epoxy, I did actually, I think I did pretty good on this one. There's no footballs or anything on here. Let's see, so let's go to my other one. I have an ultralight. This one is a little bit of awesome things, a little bit of, oh boy. So here I did the split grip, you'll see. However, the split grip is a little too far. Because it's only a 4'6" rod, the balance is off. I did better with the winding checks, but I really would like to have it a little bit, like probably 1.5 inches or so shorter because of the ultralight rod that it is. You also notice that I messed up on the glue here too. I didn't have a good cleanup, so I have residue all over the place on the grip. And this reel seat is a Pacific Bay one. This is also a size 16. Let's see, the foregrip, that looks pretty bad, but you live and you learn. Okay, so now here is the hook keeper on this one. I don't know if we can really notice here, but you can notice on the bottom it's not really level. It's got a slight football to it. When I did this, I didn't actually apply any heat to it, or if I remember correctly, I only did two applications of the epoxy. In between the applications, you should really sand it down. You can just use a scuff pad, like a 3M scuff pad that you could get from Mud Hole, or you can just use steel wool or some sandpaper and go over it that way. The one thing I did like about this was the colors. So it's 2 different reds and a gold, and I also have some black in there too. It's not bad, but I definitely could have done better. And here you'll see at the ferrule, this has got a pretty substantial football on it. It's nowhere near level. The wrap also isn't as neat as it should be. I didn't pack it as well as I could have. But the one thing I did like was the dragon scale. So to achieve the dragon scale, what I did is I used the mesh tape that you would normally do for walls. Yeah, I forget the name of the wall, but you get the idea. So you just put this, you wrap it at an angle, which gives you the little diamonds, and then on top of that I use the red metallic, so it gives you a distinct coloration to it. And I think this one came out, that part came out pretty neat. So that's my first trout ultralight. I caught quite a few trout on that, and crappies and other little species. And here we go with a production rod that I modified, or just marbled. So to get this effect, I just took some epoxy, had a base layer of the epoxy, and then I took another application of epoxy and added silver to it. So I used the tester's paint and just stirred it into with the epoxy, and I also did it with white. So I had 2 different setups where I had the epoxy in three different areas: the clear, the silver, and the white. And then I would just go on the rod dryer. I let it go through, and then I would just take a toothpick and here and there just string along the colors, and that's where you get the different swirls and such. And then over here we have the butt wrap. The swirl came out pretty cool. You also notice that the epoxy level is not level. It's wavy all over the place. I definitely could have done a lot better on that. I have a little bit of a dragon scale up here. Same concept as with my trout rod. Also, see, there's spacing here, and messed up on that one. As far as the guides go, I just did straight black, and I did some trim bands on those. Those came out okay, but because it was a production rod, again, I used I took off the old epoxy and the old thread, and these are new guides, and I used the sandpaper to sand it down. But again, when I did this one, I didn't have the permaglass, which is what I like to use now when I do new builds. And I should have put that on here to clean up that. But this is a medium light. Was it about 5.5 foot long pole. Now this one I think this one came out pretty good. So this is a 6'6" medium heavy. It has a 10-inch rear grip, and then it's a size 20 rear seat. I forget what HB means. And then we have a 3-inch foregrip, and then a bigger winding check. I think I did pretty good on that one. I see there's a little imperfection here. I could have done that one a little bit better. But what I like the most about it is the butt wrap here. I got 3 different, actually I think it's more than 3. It's like 6 different colors. So I have three gray versions. I have a light blue, a slightly darker blue, a navy, and then I have a black in there. And then I also have a silver metallic. This one here I went over 3 different times. I sanded it down after each application, and the transitions to the rod blank are pretty good. I think I hit the spot pretty good on this one, so pretty proud of this rod. And then here's the guide wrap. Did the same thing for all of them on this rod. So it's just straight black, and then a little bit of a silver trim band. So it's pretty basic, but gets the job done, and it's pretty nice. I haven't had a chance to use it yet because I built it in the wintertime, and it's still not quite fishable yet. So we'll see how that happens. But I think that's it for this one. This is just some of my freshwater builds that I've done that I think I did okay on, and some of them not so okay. But more than likely I will be redoing this one in the near future, and when I do, I'll probably video that one and show you how to take all this stuff off and how to redo it. So thanks for watching, and see you on the next one. All right, thanks. Bye.